That is Craig T. Johnson.
Craig T. Johnson. I'm not. What do you think I am, Craig Nelson?
You said you always were supposed to use the T.
Are you saying Craig because of something else? Is
No,
that why
I said Craig.
You said Craig.
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. So anyway, this person's going to tell us what he actually said. I'm pretty sure it was Craig. Craig Civale. What did he say?
I think he was. I heard Craig. I heard my name, but I don't know. It's so I've been called your name, Greg, for about 40-something years, so I can't tell the difference.
I get called Greg every time we go on a shoot with a client. Every single person calls me him every time. Every time.
My grandparents, until they both passed away, called me Craig.
For me, I'm more of like the front end of it.
I'm just making it up. Of a similar nature or character.
JMKast. JMKast.
But we get shocked often by Chris.
You Google my name, it always pulls up Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan. That's another story for another time, though.
Hey, it's the JMKast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
That was Rick Mulligan.
That is Craig T. Johnson.
Craig T. Johnson. I'm not. What do you think I am, Craig Nelson?
You said you always were supposed to use the T.
Are you saying Craig because of something else? Is that
No,
why
I said Craig.
You said Craig.
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. So anyway, this person's going to tell us what he actually said. I'm pretty sure it was Craig. Craig Civale. What did he say?
I think he was. I heard Craig. I heard my name, but I don't know. It's so I've been called your name, Greg, for about 40-something years, so I can't tell the difference.
I get called Greg every time we go on a shoot with a client. Every single person calls me him every time. Every time.
My grandparents, until they both passed away, called me Craig. I'm like their grandson. Craig.
It's like as bad as Brendan or
Come
Brandon.
here, Craig.
It's as bad as Brendan or Brandon.
Or you mean Brenda Shannon?
Oh, that's a whole different story. I don't even want to get into that one.
Oh, so Craig Civale is a former colleague of ours that worked at WFAA, but he's gone on into other ventures. He worked for what is the Baylor Hospital Group called, Craig?
Baylor Scott and White Health. It's the largest not-for-profit healthcare system in Texas.
Right.
And also did some work with DFW Airport.
Oh, yeah. DFW Airport. One of the, from what I remember, y'all social media-wise and all, y'all were doing really well there at the airport. Yeah,
for brand channels for airports, like comparative analysis, we were the number one. We had more engagement than any other social media brand channels in North America for airports.
Oh, that's cool. It's interesting. Actually.
Only Changi Airport in China, it had a more of a engagement than we did.
It wasn't Taiwan.
No.
It's a whole different scenario itself.
Sorry. Anyway, so Craig, how long you been out of the news business?
10 years.
10 years, and for me, what?
4 months?
10 minutes?
4 months.
Okay.
4 months for me.
Feels like 10 years.
Yeah. I did take another 2 years off in the
So
in
did
between. And
no, 7 months.
Yeah, and then Rick, he's maybe one more month than me.
3 weeks, I think.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. But anyway, hey, we haven't done this yet, but anyone listening at the 3-minute mark, hey, subscribe,
like,
share, do all that fun stuff. We want to grow the show, and hope you like. And Craig Civale with us as our guest today. Craig, what do you like to do for hobbies?
Oh boy, you can do a whole podcast on this. I like to play cards.
I know.
No,
we have a whole episode we talked about cards.
That's why you
should have
do that.
been there.
Yeah. You don't call me for that one, right? I could have talked about that for a couple hours. I have a couple hours just on bad beats. Just on bad
Yeah,
beats.
so we all do. I almost threw my laptop through a wall last week because of bad beats.
Tell us a frequent bad beat, or not frequent, but one that happened that you remember most recently.
Most recently, I had quads over quads.
Yeah, me
over
too.
at a quads over quads at a casino in upstate New York. I flopped quads, he rivered quads, and there wasn't. Unfortunately, we didn't qualify for the bad beat
Because it
the
wasn't
bad
in your
beat
hand.
was well, no, it was in my hand. It was it was a higher. I can't remember. It was like I think it was like 6. It had to be 6 quad 6s and above, and one of us had quad 3s.
That's stupid.
So
That's an even bigger bad beat.
Yeah. Yeah. When you don't get the bad beat.
Yeah, that's even bigger.
When there is a bad beat. And
Right, there was a bad beat, and that is a bad beat to a bad beat.
Yeah,
right
it
there.
is.
it's the double bad beat.
Like you want that bad beat normally.
So yeah, everyone would think this is a poker show, but actually it's a show about video production.
I guess we should start that one because we can do that too.
But yeah, we like to talk hobbies and things like that. So
Stuff that we do outside of the realm of pointing cameras and asking questions.
Yeah, kind of shows who we are and stuff.
Sure.
But anyway, so we'll go back to Baylor because you said you did some stuff with them too. When you had to work with clients, like how would you approach that?
Are you talking about internal clients, or are you talking about like kind of contracting vendors?
Contracting vendors.
How would I do that? So, we had approved vendors that we worked with for different things. Some actually for video production. So, in that case, we had a retainer with a group, so it was a little probably different than a kind of case by case. But as you're familiar with a retainer situation, that's something that's negotiated year to year for different goods and services and delivery, and then I work directly with that production group on different projects. Be it a little bit longer form stuff. Sometimes it was just strictly B-roll. Sometimes it was quite often actually most of it, because they also housed our archive of video. Quite often it was, hey, do you mind putting together slapping together 60 seconds of, blankety blank, blankety blank, and they'd be able to slap that together. So it was essentially an out-of-house production company that we worked with them on for different things instead of having that in-house.
But you already, a lot of those people were already in place before you got there, right?
That is correct.
Did you ever have to kind of, I don't know, call around and find others just because maybe they weren't available or because it was a project that you thought needed others? I mean,
yeah, we had it. So that was what I would consider mostly the day-to-day, week-to-week stuff. We also had some larger projects that, to me, went above and beyond the scope of that. That we actually worked with another vendor on to be able to put that together, and that was actually a multi-part series. In some cases up to a half-hour production.
Oh, wow.
So we worked with them on some of those things, and I was responsible for kind of working with them hand in hand, kind of blueprinting, the project, setting up different interviews, and kind of essentially helping to produce the whole project while they kind of functionally executed.
So you acted as the producer. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in tandem with them. I mean, we didn't really give ourselves official titles. I mean, there wasn't like a running credits or anything. This was, about getting work done. So, but, from what a producer does, yeah, I mean, being able to sit there and direct insights on it, set up material, kind of influence direction, stuff like that.
So in that case, did they have other people that were doing, say, the, logging of all the sound and
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you're
the
kind of like
company
almost
itself,
an executive producer.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so they would, there was a functional team, an outside group that would sit there and, put some of their thoughts together. I would oversee that to kind of take a look at things, and I would see shorts of it. So hey, here's a 6-minute segment we put together. Here's another this. We're going to marry this with that. And I would kind of give my opinion on different things, or add, subtract.
Right. So going back to some of the smaller projects you did with people, how often would you, I mean, did ever you get a first pass and go, that's pretty good? Or was there always something that has to be corrected?
It depends. I mean, to me, it's I always used to say this when it comes to video production. The amount of time that you put onto the front end of the project, the less time you have to put on to the back end of the project. I tend to think that way for video production, creative design production in general. I think too often people don't put enough time on the front end of projects and then get surprised by the back end of it all. When I oversaw a creative team at DFW, quite often people would just sit there and put in like a sentence of information. Like, I'd like to be able to get blank, blank, blank. And then, and then it gives the creative license for the graphic designer, for the videographer, for whatever it is, to really kind of take that license with it. But sometimes it doesn't match what the other person was envisioning. So to me, it's paramount for people to put in the time on the front end to give the functional, team there the ability to understand that vision, to be able to, do that and really kind of deliver what they're hoping to get.
Well, the best part about that is the more information they have, the more they can draw from. It's like people when they do comic books, comic book writers, the artists always want more information. So yeah, they want the story, but what action is happening. So the more information you provide in the front end, the more work is done, so that there's not filling in those blanks way after the fact. Right. Then you don't have to go back to somebody and say, hey, can you fill this? Or we meant this, but you didn't get, it's like, well, tell me that up front.
Yeah. It's difficult at times because sometimes you're dealing with people who don't understand the functionality of that process. True. Sometimes they just know they want something. They don't know, like, if you're ordering a hamburger, you had a hamburger enough to where you could go, okay, yeah, I want cheese and lettuce and tomato and onion on it. Sometimes when you're ordering a video, you haven't done it enough to where you know what to ask for. So to me, when I'm working with people that aren't because sometimes I work with other teams that, I was being a liaison for them, it's, hey, what is the feeling you're trying to evoke from this? Or what is the goal you're trying to accomplish with this? And so then I kind of work backwards from that, trying to understand what it is they're trying to accomplish. What are they trying to get? Is it like a content marketing type thing? Is it a visibility thing? Are you trying to drive traffic somewhere? What are you trying to evoke out of that? And then you try to work that into the fabric of the content.
How often did you have to, obviously you were working often directly with those contractors, but how often did it get, go up the chain and then other people also get to comment and change and do whatever? I'm just curious.
Typically what I tried to do, just because of my filter, I think I tried to get it to a point that I was happy with. So in both of my jobs out of news, I was, whenever it came to video stuff, especially, I usually worked with the skill set person, right? The videographer or what have you, on where I wanted it to be. And when I felt happy with it, that's when I passed up the line, because there were just certain things that you see. Sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's pace, sometimes it's a jump cut, sometimes it's whatever it is that, to me, I just don't want that to be on the table. Subjectivity is subjectivity. And that's where I think it gets very difficult when we talked about the back end of things, because you might like vanilla and I like chocolate. Neither one of us is wrong, but we both like something different. To me, there's a difference when it comes to video between things that are technically wrong, like jump cuts and things that don't flow and ebb and flow and maybe music choice. And then some of these things are just subjective, that's where I think it gets.
That's what we talked about with Chris last week.
Yeah, music choices.
Because music choices, we were always saying how that's one of the toughest. We love picking them, but so often those are the things that we get overruled.
Yeah, I'm the one. I hate picking music. I hate picking music.
Yeah. No, but to me, it adds so much to it, so you need it. But again, it's very subjective. But you sit there, and when you listen to it, it's really going to add. Like, to me, music should only add, it shouldn't take it away. I mean, when you listen to it, you shouldn't be distracted by it. It should add to the feeling you're trying to evoke. So I've seen things that, the moving pictures are such, but then the music really adds another layer to it. It shouldn't distract. It should really add to the emotion that you're trying to project.
Right.
Make them laugh or make them cry.
Yeah, make them feel something.
That's what I always say. Make them laugh, make them cry.
That's kind of what we always like to tell people. So how did news prepare you for the, what you did beyond news?
Well, I mean, I think, at the end of the day, we're all storytellers, right? For the majority of our adult lives, we have found ways to tell stories. Quite often in news, you're telling other people's stories. You're going out, whether it's meeting random people or you name it, city officials, whatever it is, you're telling their story, their scenario. The only thing that really different is now I've transitioned to the other side of the chessboard, and now I'm telling the stories of the companies themselves. So it just got a little bit more narrowed. So instead of being parachuted into Bedford one day or parachuted into DeSoto the next day, now you're kind of staying in one place and kind of concentrating that strategy around, that funnel that you're in. So how did it prepare me? I mean, I'm taking the same things that I learned in, 17 years of journalism and putting them into the context of what these companies want. Because I think nowadays more than ever, I mean, content marketing is where it's at. I mean, content is king. Advertising is essentially slowly getting more and more antiquated. Ads nowadays are more content marketing versus advertising.
Very much.
I mean,
so.
you don't see. I mean, the people that do it well, they're not telling you to, hey, come get this hamburger for 99 cents. They're showing you how the hamburger is made to the point to where you're so enamored with that process and how it looks and how juicy it is to where you sit there and go, boy, how do I get that hamburger? And so to me, it's the everything shifted towards content marketing, which really is video marketing when you think about it. I mean, the second most search engine out there is YouTube. And if you don't have a lot of, as a brand, if you don't have a good YouTube page and if you're not producing video content, I mean, that's where consumers are getting their information from.
Especially the younger ones.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, my niece, that's all she does is watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. I'm like, what are you watching? And she's like, just content, just content. That's what her answer is, content.
Right.
And I'm like,
I mean, even Harvey, Harvey tells us all the time, I just watch YouTube.
I'm like, I get it. I watch YouTube, but like
for my content,
I watch poker vlogs. Like that's pretty much it. I mean, I might occasionally watch movie trailers or something like that, but it's like the content there is amazing. Like you look at what Mr. Beast has done, first guy to 100 million subscribers, and all his content is just how to engage people.
Which, by the way, this is why we all like poker, because poker, when you're playing it, it's telling a story all the way through.
Oh, for sure.
Like a story I didn't understand the first time you told me, Craig. Correct?
I taught Greg how to play poker, which probably is why he sucks so badly at it. But nonetheless,
I don't know. I've seen him have some big wins.
Yeah.
No, he used to talk about the word flop. I'm like, a flop? What the heck?
The funny part is once you get hooked on it, though, you can't figure out to learn that stuff quick enough. Like I remember when I learned, Money Maker Boom, and I couldn't wait to learn the terms quick enough. Like I found myself just watching endless amounts of whatever I could find. And we didn't have YouTube at the time. It wasn't like that on ESPN. It was like going to ESPN.com trying to find stuff, and there was nothing there,
Which is why the bad beats, suck so bad, because they don't go with the story. The story didn't make sense at that point, and then ouch.
It's hard to remember how you built it. It's easy to remember how you lost it.
So who, Craig, do you go back and credit to be the person who helped you be the storyteller you are?
Man, that's hard to pinpoint it onto a person. I mean, I think
it could be several people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people over the years that really influence that. There's great storytellers in this market. I mean, one of them's leaving right now, David Schechter. He's very good. Jason Whiteley's very good in this market. But over the years, I've met a lot of different people, and honestly, I've always tried to sit there and really rely on the story itself. I mean, it is like, try not to overdo it. I mean, when you look at the people who do it best, I just forgot his name. The guy that does everyone. Everyone has a story.
Boyd.
No, everyone has a.
Oh,
no.
Steve Hartman.
Yeah, Steve Hartman. Yeah, Steve Hartman. Like when you look at, and again, the weirdest part is that to me, the people that do it best, it almost looks effortless when they do it. Like it doesn't almost look, but that's the magic behind it. The Mike Castellucci's of the world, right? Those kind of folks that do it so well, it looks so effortless when they do it, and that's quite often because they're just letting the material in front of it speak for itself. They're going in, they're listening, they're investing in it, and then they're basically finding ways to sit there and let that shine and not over producing it, overdoing it, overemphasizing it. They sit there and just kind of let those characters be characters. And so to me, I think that just learned over time, at least I learned it over time, and kind of seeing, and then, being influenced. And again, it's hard to pinpoint, but you see enough people. But over the years, I've studied those kind of people. I used to watch Steve Hartman, like literally on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're talking about YouTube all the time. Just like watch a story, just get that feel.
When I worked for CBS in Michigan, I would watch his stuff all the time. Just constantly, because and then when they did a behind the scene episodes once where it talked about his cameraman,
Les Rose.
That was like, I was so, because it was when I was becoming a photog, I was so intrigued with how they work, and they did a whole story about how they work, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So you can't credit a person to be, or who was your mentor that kind of took you to the side, or you just studied all the time?
No, I would say, like I said, there's people I had in college who really taught me, like my college professors who were actual industry folks at the time. They were in Boston, Massachusetts television. They were also professors at my college there. And so they taught me a lot of in-house stuff, and they taught me different things. But those, again, there's not somebody that I sit there and go, boy, if it wasn't for this person, then I wouldn't be who I was, or, there's nothing like that. It really came over time. It came from place to place to place. Every market, I learned something and took something away from it.
And I think I have your fight song stored in here. I'm not. Let's see if this is the fight song to your school.
Why is this going to be terribly wrong? I could feel it already.
It's Craig. That's why.
You're very quick on the you're very quick on the noise machine.
Oh, he's got a bunch ready to go. He's got one. He told me he's going to put it in. I told him if he does, I'm leaving.
I thought I would have heard like 3 rim shots already or something. Yeah.
Oh, we have applause.
Oh,
we have all those.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, there we go. I knew it was in there somewhere.
He's learned this machine fairly quickly. I'm very impressed with his ability to produce on the fly. He pushes buttons way better than I would.
I always push this one thing though. Instead of pushing the actual sound, I end up pushing the menu, and I'm like,
that's funny.
I'll get faster. I'll get quicker. But so any parting words, Craig?
Any parting words regarding video production or in general?
In general.
In general. It could be poker. It could be life. It could be whatever.
Life. I mean, I would say, and this is, I think what I'm happy for you for is in general, try to find things in life that make you happy and then go after them. I think that, we spend too much time doing things that do not make us happy.
I agree.
And we spend so much time doing that by the time we have time to sit there and kind of transition on from that, we've lost a lot of time, or sometimes it's too late for things. So I would sit there and say, definitely spend your time, your energy, and your money and everything else, your emotion, on things that bring you that happiness, that fill your cup. And you'll be much happier in life.
But we play poker all the time, and it makes us so unhappy.
Yeah, I know, but it's
sometimes.
I've had some good runs, man. I've had some good runs. I mean,
okay, so you've been on a streak lately.
I've had some. When we went to Vegas a few times, I walked away with more than I started with, multiple years in a row. So as long as I could stay away from the money suckers and the roulettes and stuff like that, and sometimes blackjack. And so if I could stay away from some of those and just focus on what I know, and not sit there and think that the Patriots are going to cover 6.5, then I'll be all right.
I do not understand anyone who does sports betting. Basketball is the only one that you should ever bet on.
Yeah,
there's a whole formula to that.
So where did you go to college, Craig? I mean, I know. I'm just
there's no fight song. So
there's not a fight song
in Boston. Yeah, good luck finding that. It's a liberal arts school. It's all a bunch of theater majors and journalists and communicators and film makers, but there's no sports teams. There's no jerseys. There was nothing. Let me put it to you this way. I was on the intramural football team in college. Okay. If you told anybody that you were on the football team in college, they would think that you were, 6'4", 240 or something. But I played on the intramural football team in college. And
Is that the flag football league?
Yeah.
What is that flag football?
Basically, yes. It was.
I played on that team too.
Fraternities.
Yeah, I played on that team too.
I'm pretty sure I played it
Yeah.
when I was in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
I played in that one too. Until I realized I was terrible.
Competitive tennis stuff. I did play competitive tennis in college.
Oh,
So,
you're a tennis player.
We actually played against other colleges.
You learn something new every day. Didn't know Craig was a tennis player.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, Craig, thank you once again for coming on our show. Rick, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm good. Thank you for coming. We appreciate the time, Craig. God,
Okay.
now I did it.
See, on the back
See, now you did
end.
it opposite.
I did it on the back end.
Bookended this.
Man, I can't believe Rick.
The amount of times I'm going to say the wrong name wrong going forward now.
Do you have like a dough sound effect?
Yeah, we do now.
Hey, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We're
Sure,
out of here.
thanks. See ya.
Bye.